Hey everybody, it's Josh from WA Production, and today I'm really excited to share with you a new plugin from our friends at United Plugins and Sound Device Digital. It's called MasterMind. I am in love with this plugin. I just started using it, and it makes mastering so easy, and it gives you full control over the way your final master sounds. Of course, as with mastering always, it's important to have a good mix going into the mastering phase, but if you've got a good mix, MasterMind can really help you to take that to the next level and make it sound great. And so I'm going to show you kind of what the plugin does, as well as go over the different features and actually use it to master a song today. So you can walk it through with me and see how it goes and all the amazing features that MasterMind has. So I've got it loaded on my master channel here. I'm going to turn it off and let's hear our track real quick, or at least part of it. All right, so you get an idea. It's a pretty great future garage track, and it's not mastered yet though, and we can change that by using MasterMind. So let's get started. So I'm going to unbypass that now. So a lot of this will probably be mostly familiar to those of you who've done mastering in the past, but there are some really unique features that make it so much easier than it typically is. So I'll go through these and we can master the track together. So the first feature that I want to go over is this matching section. So what this can do is analyze a different track, a source track, and adjust the EQ curve of your targeted track to match the source track. So if we turn on the matching, I'm going to start it down at 0 because we can kind of go up and see how it sounds. But I'm going to first analyze the source track. So what I did was I dragged in a different future garage style track right here. It's probably going to be a lot louder for you because it's mastered. All right, so since that's already mastered, let's kind of use that as our source track and see what it does to our targeted track, our new track. So to do that, we just need to play 5 seconds of this track while turning on the source analyzing. Okay, so we've now done that. So now we will mute that again. And now we should play probably the drop section of our target track and have it learn that. Okay, so now as we play the track, we should be able to adjust the EQ match so that it kind of molds it to be more like the source track that we used. You can see as we move it as well that these lines are showing a difference. If we have it at 0, they're all lined up because we're not really affecting anything. But as we move it, we can see how what we're doing is altering the curve. certain parts more than others. You can see down here a big difference, whereas up here not as much. So it means it's affecting those areas more than others. So yeah, that's a pretty great feature. I'm going to turn it off for now because I didn't really pick that track necessarily because I wanted this one to sound just like it. I just was using it as a reference because it's the same genre. But, you know, if you find, let's say you are creating, you know, a dubstep track and you've got a dubstep artist that you really like and that's kind of the mix you're going for. I'm not saying copy their style, but if you're going for like their quality of mix, try this. And you know, they suggest in the manual probably to only go to like 10 or 20%. This isn't something that you usually want to throw at 100. So, you know, just a subtle effect to kind of get it sounding a bit more of a similar mix to what your source track is. So I'm going to turn that off for now, like I said. So now we can start kind of mastering from scratch. As you probably noticed, this track was mixed really low volume if you look at the meter over here. Which isn't a problem, but in mastering, if your track is that low, you're going to be asking your limiter and other effects that you have going to do a lot of work unnecessarily. So I'm going to push it up a little bit. I opened Wave Candy here so I can keep an eye on the RMS of the track. And let's see, let's get it to a point so that it's got enough headroom to do the master, but not so quiet that you have to push it really hard. Okay, that should be good, and we can adjust if necessary. So now that we've got it at a level that we like, I'll go over the different features. So first, I was always taught that at a certain point in your mix, you want to try mixing into the limiter, meaning you want the limiter to be on and you want it to be doing a little bit of limiting so that you can kind of emulate how the sound is going to sound once you have the limiter on at the end. So I'm going to do a little bit of limiting. You've got your limiter section here. You got the output gain, the input gain, the threshold, the ceiling, and I'll go over saturation a bit. But for now, I'm going to leave the ceiling at 0. Some people, you know, have different ways. They like to do it at like minus 0.3 or something like that. I'm going to leave it at 0 and just put a little bit of slight limiting on. Okay. Now, moving right along, let's go to our Optimize section. The optimizer uses an intelligent algorithm basically to make your sound better. Bigger, better, thicker, all of the above. So let's hear how it sounds and we can adjust it accordingly. All right, so I like how it sounds there. I thought that once we went a little too high, it started losing some of the low end thickness, and I just thought that was kind of the sweet spot right there. So next, let's have a look at the stereo width. You can use this to either narrow or widen your stereo image. So let's see if our track needs that at all. So I think this track was mixed pretty well in terms of width, but a little bit extra sounded pretty good to me, so we'll leave it there. Now we'll jump over to the EQ section. So the EQ was based on a pretty famous vintage EQ and basically gives it some of that color, if you want to use it, from those vintage EQs. So it's got your standard low shelf, high shelf, and you can adjust the frequencies that those are affecting. But then it also has this tube effect, which adds some of that EQ saturation there as well. So let's just play around with that a little bit. Okay, so there, I thought that the little boost starting at 60 hertz and below helped that bass to really punch through a bit more. And then another boost starting at 10 kilohertz and above also kind of gave a little bit more brightness and clarity to those hi-hats and different percussive sounds and things. So I think it just sounded like a fuller mix when comparing before and after. And then just a little bit of EQ tube saturation there as well. I don't think we need to adjust the trim before the limiters. I think we're at a good level. And then finally, we've got overall saturation for the entire global settings. So let's play around with that a little bit. So saturation can make your song sound more full. It can also trick your brain into thinking that it's louder because more spaces are being filled in by harmonics. And so that can be a nice way to kind of glue together a mix in your mastering chain. So that's pretty much it. The couple last features I just wanted to mention are the fact that you can A/B, which is really great because what you can do is, like, let's say you're at this point, you think it sounds good, but you'd like to make sure and you'd like to play around with a few more settings. So you can just copy, and that'll copy all the settings over to B. And then you can mess around with B without affecting A. And so if we want to adjust some settings here and see if we like that better, we can play both and just go between the two. Fortunately, I still like A better. We also can compare ours to some presets. So there's some really great presets in here designed for different genres. Let me see if there's anything that's appropriate for this. Not specifically, but we could try deep house. Luckily, I still like our first one better. All right, so finally, now that we are happy with our general sound, I do want it to go a little bit louder on the RMS scale, just so that it's comparable to other songs in today's day and age. So we'll just adjust the threshold of the limiter a little bit until we are happy with the final level. All right, so I think we are sounding good. As a final step, what I would suggest is they've got these oversampling settings here. So when you get to the point of being ready to export your mix, your master, I mean, I suggest going as high as you can. 16 might take a lot of processing power. My computer probably can't handle that at this point, but you can go as high as you can, and that will improve the quality. So let's see what the highest I can do while actually still being able to play it for you is. All right, as suspected, I can't quite handle 16 while recording this video, but let's see if maybe 8 we can do. Cool. So let's have a listen to our final master and see what you guys think. Okay, so that's all I have for you today. I hope you all enjoyed the video and thought it was helpful. I hope you'll go get MasterMind right now. It's available on waproduction.com. I think it's going to be super helpful for you all to really easily make high quality sounding masters. It's a great plugin. I'm going to be using it for sure. This has been Josh with WA Production. I'll see you guys next time.